I'm your host, Jahze Yvette, and this is Too Many Opinions. I'm sitting with my guest, Ms. Calloway in Essence, and this is My Mother Wants My Life. So, hey, ladies, how are y'all doing today? How y'all been? What's up with you guys?
Amazing.
I'm so happy to have y'all on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me as well.
So I want to let y'all know I'm going to have a little back take about what today's about. I have this segment is about mothers abusing their power. So I have a few clips that I want to show you ladies. So this first clip right here is Blac Chyna's mother speaking to her. So let's listen.
I took my fillers out my face, out my butt. I scratched the bottom of it off because my mother is going crazy. Chyna! Oh, thank God. He's so good. Thank God. Thank God. Yeah. Well, let me go do something real for the people.
So ladies, first of all, we've seen Blac Chyna, her mother, in the media for a very long time. And their relationship has always kind of been like up and down. But both of you being mothers, what is your like insight of all these years seeing their relationship? Do you think it's a normal mother-daughter relationship, or, you know, I know you have a child that's a little bit older in his adulthood. Like, what does that look like for you ladies when you see something like this as mothers?
Well, I'm a mother to a son, so it's a little different. What do you
Well, I have two daughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but for me, like, it's always been heartbreaking and disgusting to see how she behaves. I want to echo what Erykah Badu said about, like, your child is supposed to be an improvement on your design, and that is so true. You know, our children are our greatest gift and our greatest, reflection of ourselves. And, like, you are never supposed to be competing with your child or, behave in this, and the competing that she's always seemed to have been doing, like she wants her life.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It seems like they have this like battle with each other. Like she even calls her daughter Chyna. And I think, I want to call her Angela White because that's what she wants to be referred to now. But she even like referred to that. She's like, she doesn't even call me by the name she gave me. She calls me by the name that the rest of the world. So do you guys, Essence, do you look at it as like a competition thing as far as when you see someone that's dealing with a mother like this in her adulthood?
I look at it as a mental health thing. I think she needs help. I'm not sure if she was used to that as a child and she grew up on that, so she don't know how to love Chyna the correct way.
Right.
So I do fault her for this because she's an adult now. I'm pretty sure people spoke to her. They've spoken to counselors. But I feel like she needs to get help. I have no other... She needs to get help.
Do you think it's because she's a young mother? Again, I know you both are young mothers. Do you think that has an effect on it? Like, because she always expresses that, like, oh, I raised you. We was in the mud together. We did all this. Don't forget. Like, she had her so young. I'm wondering if age has anything to do about being a good mother or not.
I feel like age has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
When you don't have any guidance. See, me, myself, I had grandmothers to look up to, like people that actually helped me become the mother that I am today. Yeah. So I feel as if she didn't have any guidance.
Yeah, no guidance. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, like, you're always, your personality and character is always a reflection of the foundation in which you came from, right? So if you didn't have those role models and, that loving, supportive, foundation from parents or just examples, like you said, your grandmother, then you're going to grow up with, that trauma and, not learning, how to fix yourself and self-develop. So she didn't have the tools. It's not all her fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Angela seemed like she didn't have the tools either. And she still seemed like she's kind of,
right.
And I don't know if money has to do with that or who she had the kids by, but.
Or she's stronger. She could take on more.
You
have to want to change.
That's true too.
I think Angela wanted to change. I think she wants to change.
Yeah, that's very true.
That.
She had her breaking point.
That's very true. And you could see her mom is very stuck in whatever ways that she's been in for a very long time. I do want to go to my first opinionator. His name is Leon Busy Working. He said, unfortunately, these are one of these instances where mothers internally is pissed that her daughter is and has done better than her. She's unfortunately She unfortunately envies her daughter because they came from the same area, circumstance, and China is making it out, doing what's best for her. If you never had a toxic parent, you can imagine the bondage and emotional trauma it puts you through. Talk to me. Speak on this for me. Expand what you meant by this.
Absolutely. You know, for me, it definitely hits home because they're from my hometown. I'm from DC. So I see women in unfortunately relationships with mothers and daughters like this on a normal day basis. You know, I mentor young girls and I'm in schools a lot in DC. And I can tell you, this is pretty much the everyday thing for a lot of the women who were born and raised in DC that have parents who are either mentally ill or on drugs, unfortunately. But I wanted to touch on something that a lot of people don't really realize between the dynamics between China and her mother. And someone said that, you know, she was a teen mom. I think a lot of it really stems from the grandmother. I think there's more of a relationship which Angela is seen as a sister rather than a daughter because they were teen parents. So she was a teen parent, but more so, I think it's more anger stemming from the fact that China always said she was raised by her grandmother and her mother envies that. So she sees that love that the grandmother gave her and she hates her for it.
Did he hit a point with you ladies with that? I mean, I felt him on that. Speak to me, Essence.
Well, that sums it up too.
Yeah.
I just said that I learned because my grandmother.
Yeah.
So China even though her mother was always always toxic to her as in her childhood, she always had her grandmother there. So it was like the angel, and I want to call it the devil, the angel, and you know, yeah.
I have such a good relationship with my mom, but my mom is 40 years older than me, so it's like a big difference as far as age, right? Mm-hmm. But that friendship thing that he just said, like, you know, I think she's looking at him more like a friend.
Yeah.
You know, there's boundaries when it comes to being a parent. Speak to me about y'all boundaries. I mean, I know y'all love y'all children, y'all have fun with them, but I know you have to set some type of boundaries.
I can speak to that because I'm 20 years older than my son. I'm 43, he's 23. And we do have a very strong friendship.
Right.
And he gets out of line a lot with me because, you know, we hang out together. Yeah. You've actually been around us hanging out, you know. He's in college in New York, and so I've actually brought him out with me a couple of times, and so like we do have that strong friendship dynamic, and then that mother-son dynamic. But he gets out of line.
So does he forget that you sometimes could be his mom?
Absolutely. He calls me bro, which I hate. You know, bro, yeah, bro, and I'm just like, I'm your mother. Right, you know, stay in your place, and you know, he gets really comfortable sometimes. But it's like we are so close in age. He keeps me young. We love hip hop. He keeps me in the know of things. Right. But, you know, I do have to set those boundaries often with him and check him like, I'm your mother, you know, respect me as that. So, you know, just being a young mom.
So you feel like you can be friends with your children?
Absolutely. But you have to constantly set the boundaries and check your children because they, you know, they get stuck in that friendship and then they lose the respect.
Yes.
They start to lose the respect. And then if you get comfortable in that dynamic and you don't constantly, you know, check the boundaries, you'll get set in those ways. And so, you know, maybe perhaps that's what happened with them. I don't know, but I just know it's like heartbreaking to see that in the media because she should be supporting her. She should be loving on
her daughter.
Yeah, she should be loving on her. She should be
like
growing with her
for her mother as well, regardless of their circumstance. And I go back to what you said. You said, you know, your grandmother was a big influence for you. Do you think that, you know, China's mom doesn't like her own mom and for her own mom to be raising her daughter better than she raised her? That could be kind of some envy in that as well.
I feel like she lived with some regrets.
Right.
And she's just fighting it right now. She's trying to put on a big face like, oh, it's not that. It's the thing China. It's not China. You're living with regrets because you didn't get the chance to have that relationship when she was younger. Maybe y'all did form it because she did get a little better. They did like a couple years ago.
They were in a great
China was taking her to do things that she was doing to herself. So
and she didn't have to put her mom in the media.
On the same caliber.
Right.
I guess it wasn't enough, but I just feel like she lived with some regrets.
Yeah. I want to go to my next opinionator. She says, speaking of Kate, please stop posting this. This is not only hurtful and triggering to China, but other people that have went through similar. I promise you, nobody wants to keep seeing this. Speak to me about this.
Yes. I just feel like, you know, a lot of times, us in the Black community, we are so desensitized to having to see just constant abuse or certain things on the internet. It's like, okay. At a certain point, we are tired of seeing this. And also, I think that people forget that Black China is a real person. You know, she gets on the internet and she has to see her own mom basically bashing her. So it's like, okay, think about the person that you're making these posts about. And understand that it's a real person behind it.
Absolutely, absolutely. She is a real person. I think that's another thing. I think her mom kind of forgot it. Look, I'm a human. Hello, I'm human at the end of the day. And I was doing a little digging into Blac Chyna, and throughout her transformation that she's going through right now, I saw a video of her and she was just crying. And I looked at that video, and I think she was trying to promote her hair page, but she was crying on the video. And that was the first time I actually did see her as human. I think we forget, even your family members of the world forget that these celebrities are human at the end of the day, you know? So I do want to go to this next clip. Speaking about humans, this clip particularly, Blueface mother speaks to her child as if that's not her child. So let's listen to it.
On here and say that it really, really hurts my feelings to hear y'all still saying I want to sleep with my own flesh and blood son, my baby, my last born child out of my womb, my knucklehead son. No, I didn't wash my face yet, baby. I just ran and got some coffee. I just ran and got my coffee, that's all. Ooh, I spilled it. I don't mind if y'all say stay out his business. I don't mind if you say weird stuff. Just don't be saying the stuff about I want to sleep with him. That's just going too far, okay? I got my own dick over here, and it's bigger than my son's dick, okay? So we gonna get that all cleared up.
That was a lot for me. First of all, I'm not a mother, and I don't have a son. But it's like, as a parent, again, I'm coming back to you ladies, especially you have a son, like, where is her mind frame even trying to compare her son to her husband? Like,
I don't know.
You can't even answer that one for me, right? Like,
that was wild.
I think it's weird. Like, what? Yeah. How does that come out your mouth as a mother? And what type of relationship do you see them having? Because they also have a very weird relationship. The way that she's always constantly in her son's life, constantly trying to control it, constantly in his girlfriend's business. I find it to be, like where, again, we go back to saying, where does the boundaries come in at?
I mean, as a mother of son, again, you don't, if you don't have the tools, and you didn't grow up knowing any better, you don't know how to parent properly. I mean, that comment was crazy. I've never seen that clip before.
Yeah.
But comparing his size to her man's size, that was wild.
But is it that parents could be kind of too obsessed with their kids?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And the control thing, I get the control thing. I'm constantly in my son's business, wanting not to control him. He says I'm controlling. I don't realize it.
We should bring your son on.
So it's not intentional. Right. It's just like you do as a parent to a certain extent feel like your children are your property. You know what I mean? So like
even into adulthood, you talking about a 23-year-old man.
Absolutely. Wow. I mean, and I have had these conversations with my parents, and I know my dad was definitely trying to control me all in my 20s, until I finally just left the house and was like, no, but your parents do feel like you are mine. I gave birth to you. I put you on this earth. I'll take you out. Like that saying is true for a lot of people, but when he tells me that I'm being controlling, like I'm just one of those people who can self-reflect and hear him and receive his message and say, okay, let me back off. Because I didn't like being controlled,
right?
Right. So you just have to back off. But, the clout chasing through their kids' celebrity is just like, if anything, they should just always be 100% supportive, not feeding into the stuff that social media puts out there. I think it's crazy.
What about you? What do you think when you see stuff like this? Is it like, why do you think some parents are just so wanting to be involved in every move of a child's, and I keep saying children, these are clearly adults, you know what I mean?
So as a parent, when you have kids and you are going through something mentally, you're stressed, you're sad, you're depressed, you look towards your kids for that healing. I feel like she put too much of that into her youngest son. So now she's obsessed with it.
Obsessed.
Literally. She's obsessed with it.
So are you comparing him with your own
husband?
husband?
If you've been allowed to do that, he probably never said nothing because he didn't want to break her heart when he was younger. So if he was doing this for so many years, she became accustomed to this. So this is normal for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's sad, but now she feels like this is just her and this is who she's going to be.
And I go back to what you said, if I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. I feel like she also has that type of mentality because it's like, I remember something else that she said, like, what did she say? She said something when she was in front of him, like, Jonathan, like, you're mine. And he was like, Mom, back up. Like, I don't.
Right.
You're doing too much. I don't want to be with you. Like, it's almost like they had some weird relationship that nobody could figure out. I always just thought that. I want to go to my next opinionator. Big Cunt said, so it's weird for people to say you're fucking your son, but it's not weird for people to compare him and your man's dick size. That was the weirdest shit to say as a mother. What do you guys think about this comment that I read out?
Yeah, I think I already mentioned it.
You did mention it.
Weird.
It's just weird energy. At the end of the day,
weird energy.
Very sick.
What's it called? Oedipus syndrome. I think it's called Oedipus syndrome. When your child is in love, when your child's in love with you, or you are in love with your child in a sexual, inappropriate way. Right. It's called Oedipus syndrome. Right?
She definitely has something with her son. I don't want to say it's sexual because she clearly is like, I love my son. But I just don't see her going as hard for her daughter. I think even her daughter's like, I don't even talk to my mother or my brother because they brought so much chaos in my life. And I go back to saying that too with her. She was like, I built you. I put you in this rap game. I made sure you got all these diamonds, these clothes. Don't play with me. Do you feel like that as a mother sometimes? Like you didn't build your children up and you like, don't play with me. Like, can you give off that energy?
I have a 11-year-old and a 6-year-old. So you do, because sometimes they tend to forget. And it's like, wait, you betraying me.
Right. I'm your mother, don't remember.
Like no matter what age they are.
Yeah.
We do.
No, I want to touch on her usage of the word betrayal. I often feel like that. Like all the energy I put into you, all the money, all the time, and the focus and the love, you know what I mean? So you do.
But sometimes when you give somebody so much, they do forget. Like, I think that's with anything. Your man, your woman.
Yeah,
like,
it's like...
somebody constantly doing something, you could tend to forget because they always there. You know they're not going anywhere. Like, I'm not... Where you going? With my mama. Right. You know what I mean? Like, where you going? Speaking about betrayal, I do want to play this next clip. I think it's just so heartbreaking. I've never seen a mother treat a child, or especially their adult child, like this. And I just want you ladies to hear it and see if we can speak on it after.
This is an email that my mom sent me. Dear Nat, I am so disappointed in you. You used to be my perfect little angel, but now you are nothing more than a little, all caps, slut, floozy, all used up. And to think, you wasted it on that hideous ogre of a man. I saw the pictures on a website called TMZ. I saw you rubbing his disgusting hairy stomach. I knew you were lying about Colton. I had told her I was with a friend, Colton. Add that to the list of things you are. Liar, conniving, evil. You look pudgier too. It's clear you're eating your guilt. Thinking of you with his ding-dong inside of you makes me sick. Sick. I raised you better than this. What happened to my good little girl? Where did she go? And who is this monster that has replaced her? You're an ugly monster now. I told your brothers about you and they all said they disown you just like I do. We want nothing to do with you. Love, Mom. Or should I say Deb, since I am no longer your mother. P.S. Send money for a new fridge. Ours broke.
It was the send money for the new fridge for me that just sent me. Yes. Ladies, both of y'all mouth drivers, y'all can clearly feel how I feel, but how does it get to the point where you could feel this way about your child? I mean, I'm looking at this woman and she was on iCarly, very successful, seemed like she carried herself well. You know, a mother's love is so important. You know, how important is a mother's love to you ladies, and what it could actually do to your children, or what it's done to y'all, you know, having the love of your mother, not having the love from your mother?
Well, I'm very, very close with my mother. My mother is like my rock, my superhero.
Can you imagine your mother writing something
like that? I can't. And I do have, one of my best friends doesn't have a great relationship with her mother, and just like to hear her pain, she still struggles with as a grown adult from things that happened to her when she was very young, you know, like the relationship you have with your parents, it's like, it can make you or break you as a human being, you know, like you hear stories all the time of like adopted children who never meet their parents until later, and they search their whole life trying to, you know, connect with because it's that important. Like, why didn't you love me? Like, looking for that approval. And so, like, when you have a parent in your life who is right there and still doesn't approve, I think that's far worse than not knowing the parent, you know? So,
or the parent being dead or something like that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
You know, it's weird to me because I feel like a child love is unconditional. It's like reverse. Because a child will always reach out no matter what, try. And I feel like the parent, the mother, is the one that's usually the stubborn one.
And of their own trauma and their own abuse, you think? Or?
Yeah, hurt people. So these words, to me, I can handle words well, so maybe that's why. But these words, if I was to read a letter like that from my mom, I'm like, she needs love. It wouldn't really faze me.
Yeah.
Because words doesn't really break you. But people just say things when they're not feeling good.
Certain words from certain people can break you. Like the love of, like, the expectation of the rest of the world and that one person you just know supposed to be there for you for everything and anything turns on you. How can you trust anybody at that point? It's like that trust of your mother is everything. You know what I mean? Or at least, like you said, the parents. Let me ask you guys this, though. Do you think, and I hate to compare the two, but do you think a mother's love is way more important than a father's love? I feel like so many people go through life without that father's love and still become amazing people. But it's those people that lack that mother in their life, you could tell, you know, they just go through a little bit more trauma, or they handle people differently. Do you guys think that way? Or
I think both parents are equally important in the dynamic of raising a child. Those people without fathers might still grow up and be successful, but you don't know the pain that's happening behind the scenes or the trauma. And like, you know, that woman's really broken and she's looking for her father in every man that she dates. So she's getting abused you know, not being loved properly. So
both parents are very important.
You know, because both genders give you like something different.
But isn't like a mother the nurturer? Like she's the one that just love you and they kiss
but
you
your
with
dad
their
is the first man who tells you you're beautiful, who tells you to love yourself, who shows you how to move in the world and how to deal with men. Love yourself first. Don't you know what I mean? So I mean, because I have that. I'm very close with both of my parents, fortunately, and I grew up like having girlfriends be very jealous of and envious of me because I had like both my parents, and especially like a strong relationship with my dad. So I think both parents are very important, and I think that's the number one thing missing in a lot of our households.
It is. Do you think the same way, or are you feel like a mother's love is way more important than a father's love?
I feel like it's equal.
Okay.
They both play a major role for certain things you would need to, you know, when you grow up in your life. I'm very close to my mother as well. My father, I'm close with him also, but both of my parents was young. I had my child at 17. They had me at 17. So my women always learn a little faster than men. So I got that from my mom more so. And then when I got older, I got the bruteness from my dad. When I was younger, I was looking for it. I'm not going to lie, but he wasn't as affectionate. So I was looking for it.
I can't lie, for me, I wasn't raised with my father. My father got killed when I was 6. So my mother was, I guess, played both roles. I could not see my life without my mother. Like, I don't know. It's just something about this woman that makes me just like, okay, I see light at the end of the tunnel. Like, you know, on my hardest days, she's the one that's like, baby, I love you. Give me a hug. It's going to be okay. I got your back. And I haven't experienced the love of a father to understand it or know how they have their children back. But it's just like, I don't know. It's nothing like a mother's love to me. It's nothing like a mother's love. I want to go to my next opinionator. Roxy Rocks 526. She says some parents really ain't shit. If you got good, decent parents, consider yourself blessed, because a lot of people don't have that. Why should I be blessed if I have a good parent, sis?
Well, you know, like I said, people don't have that, and it's important in the foundation of life to have either a mother or father or both if you're lucky enough, because that does affect everything in your life. There's things I'm still dealing with as a 41-year-old woman that are hard, and it's important. And I'm a parent now, so I look at it from 2 different spectrums. Some of the things that as the child perspective don't seem as dramatic looking back at it now as I made it. But also, I have more of grace and compassion for my parents and what they went through and why they may have made the choices they made.
So let me ask you this: Did you have both of your parents in your life? Was your mother really present?
My mom was always present, but she was a teen mom, so that was really hard for me. My dad, not so much, but I do have a relationship with him now as an adult. So I do have them both in my life, but it's hard. They're not stable relationships.
I'm sorry. You having a teen mom definitely affected you, you feel?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a kid raising a kid.
So ladies, I know again, we go back to saying y'all both are very young. And I know we talked about this at the beginning that, you know, it is hard to be a younger parent, but how hard really truly is it?
Ooh, you're gonna make me tear. Don't talk about that.
Well, I only have one, so one and done. That's how hard it was for me. I was 20.
But being 20, like I'm 31.
Right.
I still can't imagine me having a kid right now because I'm all over the fucking place.
Right.
I'm struggling. I'm stressed. I'm like, how? So again, I applaud young mothers, especially the you two women that I'm sitting in front of, because y'all carry yourselves so well. Y'all running businesses. Y'all kids still clean and beautiful. Essence, I know you tearing up over there, but how hard was it? Talk to me. I really do want to hear that.
Well, I have two, so I got to experience both. I had my first at 17 and my second one at 23. 23 was way different from 17. I was a pro.
I could believe it.
And it was so much, it was easier for me. It came natural. At 17, it was hard because I had my parents, I did, but the person you thought you was going to be in love with forever. And my mom warned me. When they're stepping out and they're doing what they want and you're stuck with that child.
Yeah. You can't go out and do what you want to do because you got to be a mother.
You got to be a mother.
Yeah.
But it gave me tough skin.
Yeah.
It gave me tough skin. And it's so funny how the oldest one is she's so sweet, gentle, kind, caring. And I don't know how she's like this. I mean, I did try to teach her, but I didn't know what I was doing. The second one, I feel like I gave her more, and she's a little sour patch. So yeah, it's definitely tough.
Let me ask you this though, because I saw a video recently that your 11-year-old threw you a surprise party.
Yeah.
And she put this whole birthday thing together for you.
Yeah.
So as much as you feel like, you know, it was hard for you, you've done such an amazing job, like you said. I mean, for her to be 11 years old and be so aware, I find, like you said, the love of a child is so much different for their parents.
Yes.
Tell me what you think, how your daughters really look up to you. What does that feel like, having them look at you like a superhero?
Now I feel like I accomplished everything I needed to accomplish in life.
That's what's up, sis.
That was my number one goal.
That's what's up.
And they're great. Especially that oldest one. She's something else. She invited family from out of town all in one day.
That's what I was going to say.
All of them had a cake.
That's incredible.
My friends she called all my friends. They came over and cooked.
But that goes to speak on how good and amazing mother you are.
Yeah.
You know, it really truly does. I do want to go to my next opinionator. I am Heather Thompson. She said this is why, while I celebrate the gift of family, but when the relationships are functional and reciprocated, too many people are stuck allowing themselves to be stuck with relatives because of the old "we're family" mantra or mentality replayed. Jeanette, I'm so happy that you reclaimed your identity in peace now. Blessings to you. Can you speak to me about that?
Absolutely. I was horrified when I heard about Jeanette McCurdy's story because, like all of you, anyone who saw her, you saw her on iCarly, you saw her on a show that my children watch because I'm a mother as well, Sam and Cat, and you thought, okay, this young lady's making a way for herself. But then to find out the horrific things that she went through. And while I can't speak for all communities, I know, well, actually, I think Jeanette's an example. We see that there's always this family will protect family. And no matter how it is that you treat me or I treat you, we're supposed to always be united. But there is something to be said for healthy relationships. We should make sure that the people that we're engaging with, we're not just allowing them to continually abuse us when we're children. We don't have control over that. When we're adults and we have the ability to step away, to confront someone, to call them out on their stuff, to get therapy, to do the things differently than we were taught, it's necessary. Because I firmly don't believe, and I have separated from a family member who was determined to treat me one particular way and kind of hide it from the rest of the family. And I was like, God bless you. I hope you're well. But no. So when they tried to control me by saying, I want to, I'm just going to do this and I'm just going to do that and I'm going to step away, I didn't fight them. I said, I respect that. I do. And some people don't understand that decision, but I refuse to live my adult life in chaos and teach my children that you're supposed to live in peace. I will not be the example that says, do as I say, not as I do. Do as I'm doing.
I love that. I love that so much. She's speaking, she hit it like literally the nail on a dime, like healing. When I see of Blac Chyna, when I see of Jennette McCartney, they seem like women that heal regardless of their circumstance. How important is it to heal despite, your upbringing and your experience as a child, even as an adult with your parents?
Well, life is an evolving journey. Yeah. And it's like self-development is the most important work a human being can do for themselves. Yeah. Because none of us are perfect. A lot of us are just really fucked up. There's different levels of being fucked up, but
and it's like how you break that generational curse almost.
Right. And it's all self-reflection. It's like, it's the want to change too. It's like, I want to be the best version of me I can possibly be. So I actually did, I hate to compare my trauma to other people's trauma because there are people that have really gone through some shit. And I feel like I'm kind of being a little ungrateful because I really didn't have any serious issues growing up. But we all had our issues.
Everybody
does.
What I'm saying? Absolutely.
So I did a ayahuasca experience to heal. And it was like one of the most powerful things I ever did. And it really did help. So, that was just like to the extent I was willing to like change and heal myself to become a better version of me.
Do you think though, like, regardless of the type of healing that you may do, you could go through therapy, like unless you really get to the gritty of it, essence, like talk to the people that harm you, hurt you, that's the only way you can heal? Or you think you can just move on and with grace?
I feel like majority people cannot just move on with grace. Yeah. We have about 20% people can move on with grace. See, me, I can move on with grace. Okay? But
bye.
Yeah. I feel like if more than one person is telling you something, you should self-reflect. Yeah. And that can help you move on with grace. Like once you self-reflect and you want to change, that helps you. But if people get accustomed to your ways, say like it's your family. Oh, she's crazy. Everybody knows she's crazy. Oh, she's this way. Everybody knows she has an attitude problem. Then you're going to always be that person. So I'm not sure whether she would be in love unconditionally, in love for who she was, her mom, and that's why she's still this way, and that's what it seems like. Yeah. So then she can't heal. You gotta love her for who she is, but remove yourself when you feel like it's too much for you.
When I say heal too, right, in a godly way. When I say heal too, do you ever like? When she at the end of that said, make sure you give me a fridge, that would break me out my healing. It's almost like, what?
I'm done. Right. I'm done.
Right. Like, what? Like, how can I heal?
Right. The nerve of you.
The nerve of you.
And that's why I said remove yourself when you feel like it's too much for you, because that's the breaking point.
Yeah. Let me ask you, as women that have a lot of other women around them and they see their kids, do you have women around you that you see that's not as good of parents? Do y'all speak on it? Is it anything like that? Or have y'all ever seen anything in these type of situations? Or that's just not y'all experience? Y'all don't even surround yourself with stuff like this?
Yeah, I don't.
I know you spoke that you had a best friend that went through something, of similar. So that's why I was speaking. Do you have anybody with experiences?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
and what did that do to them?
Yeah, so my one of my best friends, she doesn't have the best relationship with her mom, and like I said, I've just been around to see the pain that she goes
effect
through.
That it has.
The effect, and it's been years, and she hasn't healed. So when you talk about, can we just move on with grace, or do we need? Sometimes we really need that person to acknowledge the hurt and the damage they did, and then you can move on. But like, my friend, for instance, her parent refuses to acknowledge it and take accountability. She just acts like it didn't happen.
Seems like this lady.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like when you have a narcissistic parent, and narcissistic is a real mental health issue that affects a lot of people. People have narcissistic lovers, parents, whatever, and they refuse to take accountability and acknowledge your hurt and your pain. That's very hard because you go through life like, messed up. Like, I really just need this person to say sorry, and sorry would alleviate
be
all
okay
the issues.
after that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But are you really gonna be okay?
Probably
so like
not,
that forgiveness, without that, you do have to be able to just move on and say, I forgive them. I forgive myself. I can't change them. I can't change that, but I'm not going to hang on to this and let it like slowly kill me. Because that's what it does.
Yeah.
It does. And then you bring that trauma into every other new relationship you have.
Yep.
Right.
So do y'all, I wanted to close this out and let you ladies just speak to y'all children and y'all mother and let them know how much you love them.
Mm-hmm. Every day. My son tells me he loves me every day.
Do you have a message for your son and your mother that you want to just share with everyone? Just speaking of the good mother you are and the good mother you were raised by?
Yeah, I mean, just unconditional, unfathomable love I have for the both. I tell them both they're my favorite people in the world. Mm-hmm. My mom and my son.
Essence, you want to tell your kids and your mother anything before we wrap up?
Thanks, y'all, for building this person that I am today. My mom helped and my kids helped, so thank you for that.
I love that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
to my
Jazz,
opinionators.
You heard me?
I may not be a mother, but I am blessed beyond measures to have been raised by one of the most exceptional women in this world. My mother, Andrea, has always been my pillar of strength, offering me unconditional love, support, and guidance. She consoles me in a time of need, speaks life into me when I'm down, and she stands by me through thick and thin. She has granted me the grace to grow and become the woman I am today, all while reminding me that she will forever be my mother. As I reflect on my experience with my mother, I realize that not everyone is fortunate enough to have a mother like her. It is a tremendous blessing to have a mother who shapes you in every way possible, from your first breath to your first step. Being a parent is challenging, and we all make mistakes, but it's crucial never to be a bad mother. Regardless of the pain and the struggle we face, we must never take it out on our children. Mothers have a profound impact on their children, and it's our duties to fight for them and understand that they have boundaries, especially as they grow into adulthood. The saying isn't true. Yes, you gave me life, but you can't take it away from me. To those who have suffered at the hands of a parent, always remember she held you for 10 months, but God will hold you for the rest of your life. I want to close out and want to thank my guests and my opinionators, Essence and Miss Calloway. Please drop y'all social media so everyone can find you.
Hey, you can find me at Little Miss Calloway. That's LIL_MISSCALLOWAY.
Hey, you can find me at ESSEN. Well, Essentia Banks, but it's ESSENCIABANKS. Again, it's Essentia Banks on Instagram.
You did. Each and every one of you has an opinion, and it matters. Or maybe it doesn't. I pray regardless that this conversation opens you up to more than just your opinion. I'm Jahze Yvette, and I'll see you next episode on Too Many Opinions.